Welcome to Cody in the Cinema. Today I'm going to review the 1932 Criterion Collection Scarface, the classic, of course, was remade, the Al Pacino, Brian De Palma film. And this includes, if you get the 4K, a 4K plus Blu-ray, as well as a few supplements, not too much in the way of that. You get an essay here. I've read some of it. It's pretty good. An awesome looking coloration to that. All the way around, the presentation on this is beautiful, but I'm mostly going to be talking about the film. I did want to point out, though, that this looks really good, the actual case. So I have very specific thoughts about who I think will enjoy this the most, and that person is me. This particular Criterion Collection product was made for me specifically. And let me tell you what I mean. I have been a Martin Scorsese fan forever. I pulled this out while I was, as soon as I started watching this, I just immediately thought of season 2 of Boardwalk Empire. Of course, Scorsese was involved in this production as well. But this is my favorite single season of television ever. This particular season of Boardwalk Empire, and it's one of my favorite shows. And a lot of the time that I was watching Scarface, I felt Boardwalk Empire. The ensemble episodic nature of it, the small interactions with the characters, all of it felt like this. And I'm sure that the show is heavily inspired by Scarface. And that is part of why, as I was watching it, I felt like it was for me. Even the sense of humor that it has. But if you're unfamiliar with Scarface, this is a very kind of traditional gangster story. It is pre-code, but the idea is that this Scarface gangster played by Paul Muni rises and falls. The same as something like Public Enemy or Roaring Twenties, the Roaring Twenties here, which was recently put out by the Criterion Collection. And for what it's worth, I think this has a better overall look of the two. If you're talking the 4K, the actual pizzazz of it, the presentation, this is the better looking film. But I think this one is just as good. It's just as entertaining. It's just not as... It doesn't have, two compelling actors the way that this one might. Like, it doesn't have Humphrey Bogart alongside of James Cagney. Note that Scarface does say it has Boris Karloff, but that he's a small part in it. He's kind of a little bit of an insignificant part. So just really most of the movie is on Paul Muni. And he's incredible in it. He's one of my favorite gangsters I've seen in these old movies. Now, I did say that I felt like this movie was made very specifically for me because I wanted a really good black and white gangster movie that I felt like had that Scorsese vibe. That's exactly what I was looking for. That's exactly what I got. I don't know, watching this, as I was watching this, I was thinking to myself, will the first half of this appeal to the average Criterion fan? I don't know if it will feel that way in terms of quality, the way that some of the other releases might. For example, I was thinking about Mildred Pierce that came out, Roaring Twenties. Those might be a little bit better movies in that black and white. Those of you that got Double Indemnity when that 4K dropped, that's a better movie than this. But I liked Scarface as much as those movies because I like this genre so much. So if you're into the genre, I think you're going to appreciate it a lot, if that makes sense. A couple of things I wanted to just a few little things I wanted to talk about here that I thought were really cool. There is an opening shot with a part, the end of a party, and there's a killing scene there that I thought was pretty good. It had some of that Godfather flavor to it, and the women in this, they don't get a lot of screen time. Ann Dworvik, for example, doesn't get a lot of screen time as Kid's sister, but when they are on the screen, they do tend to make the project even better, especially in those last few minutes with Paul Muni and Ann Dworvik, like his little sister. Those characters are compelling. There's a character here, Poppy, who Michelle Pfeiffer kind of is that character in the remake, which is also a good movie. I think you'll like her. One thing about this that I did note, the world is yours that whole sign and phrase and all that is mentioned in the essay, and I didn't know this, as coming from or inspired by Underworld, which is a gangster movie I really love from the Sternberg silent classic era. And if you haven't ever seen this pack, if you're already looking into this, or if you've looked into Roaring Twenties or any of these, you may want to check this out. This is a pack I really like. Underworld is one movie from that pack. A lot of people have the one with Marlene Dietrich, but this is also a good pack. It also features The Docks of New York, which is a terrific silent movie, and I haven't seen The Last Command, but that's in there as well. So I do think, like, if you wanted to keep going, with this genre, you can even keep going with that pack. But Scarface, I had not seen it in its entirety, and I loved Paul Muni in it. Bill Hader, there's a Bill Hader interview, not commentary, it's an interview where he talks about the film in the supplements, and it's good. So we all love Bill Hader, right? And he kind of said that Paul Muni had this sort of like halfway between a Marlon Brando method acting and then something closer to a silent movie actor vibe, and the way that he uses his hands, it'll make sense to you if you see it, but I think it's effective, and it does kind of build this like gangster nostalgia that you might be looking for, like I said, if you're a Boardwalk Empire fan. So if you're in the mood for a black and white gangster film, this is going to scratch that itch very well. I happen to really like that genre. The Public Enemy, love that movie, right? There's a few of these I haven't seen yet, but I'm just such a fan of this genre, and if you're a Scorsese fan in general. So that was kind of my thoughts on this. I think, if you're not already in the gangster, probably not for you. Out of the Criterion Collection, but give it a shot. I mean, if it sounds interesting to you, and like I said, I just want to emphasize, I really like the case here. I really like the artwork. This is a movie that for me is like 4 out of 5 stars on Letterboxd. It's very strong, good for what it does. Some people might like it a little less. Like I said, I don't know if it has the full toolbox that something like The Godfather, Goodfellas does later on, but it's still a great film in its own right, in my opinion. So if you like the 30s Scarface and you have any comments you'd like to provide, for example, some of the great gunfire scenes, like the gunfire, this is just incredible, especially the famous scene where they first get shot at by typewriter guns. If you have anything you want to comment there, that would be great. That'll help the channel, as will the like button. If you do like your content here that you're seeing, if you want to click subscribe, all those things do help to make this channel the growing, thriving community that it is and that I'm attempting to grow, right? So please do that. And we will see you next time on Cody in the cinema.